everybody. Welcome to Psychic Nerds. It's June 24th, 2022, about 1:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. I got very busy with some things right at the last minute, so I appreciate everybody allowing me to be a little bit late today. It's sometimes happening. It sometimes happens. There's so much going on right now for me personally. But yeah, had something pop up today, and I'll talk about it here in a minute. I'm really excited about the crypto rise over the last couple of days, seeing some nice movement. We want to see that trend continue, right? We want to see these markets have some strength. I will go ahead and also pull up legacy markets to see how they're doing today. Yeah, they're doing extremely well again. So this is also helping that the Dow and the NASDAQ are up. Once again, the Dow is about 700 points up. NASDAQ's about 270 points up. So that's pretty good. This helps. Came across first of all, before we get into it, if you're not a Psychic Nerds member, I hope you were. We cover lots of things. You get access to the Patreon and the Discord. The real magic, I think, happens up on the Discord. People sharing things, trying things, expressing themselves, getting help with maybe a wallet, whatever, understanding some concept. What's the difference between a layer 1, layer 2, things like this, or wanting to try, some mechanism, some network, some token. So if you're not a Psychic Nerds member, I wish you were. And if you only get this free 30-minute sampler, I'll say it again because I get a lot of strange comments that people think, I don't know, we cut them off, or what you're seeing is only a sampler, okay? And these things usually run about 2 hours. So I had a interesting, perplexing thing happen today, and I've been asked that we cover a little bit more woo. So we're going to cover a few woo things today. We're going to go over something that one of the guest stars here is described as blind charting. I think we want to talk about the ethics of telepathy. I want to explain the situation that I had today before the 30 minutes is ended, and then I'll do the reveal after. So if you're a member, then you get to test yourself and maybe come up with some ideas of your own. With that being said, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing this week?
I'm very good. I got worn out at the gym this morning.
Good.
One of the exercises that we routinely do at the pool is to push a kettlebell across the floor from one end to the other. And typically I get worn out at the halfway point. Made it all the way across today.
Nice. Good for you, man. One of our questions later on is what do we do to relax? What do we do to de-stress? What do we do to get away from some of the negative energy? And if you play in this space or you get messages, I know a lot of people that can do things that are just plagued with, anxiety and different things, and just kind of have a general hard time. So do you find, Lost, that, working out is a good way for you to de-stress and kind of center yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Other things I do will be to play the guitar. Something I'm having a lot of fun with right now is developing psychic tests and trying to work out exercises that can be used to develop those abilities.
That's great. I love that. I love that.
And to add, to add to that, like you talk about exploration. So, for me, stand-up paddles, I had to replace mine due to someone else needed them more. Let's go there. Now I can say that. And I picked up a new hobby, and that's archery. And going back to basic of the bow, and then spending more time with children, because they just have less, I'm gonna say, the fuckery, less of that, and they just want to enjoy the moment, jump off the bridge. And then we got the hunting tips, and we were trying to fish for the fish, just for the sake of it, having fun at the lake more, and enjoying what Lost Shaker is designing. I said I'm feeling a little bit shy if he wants me to test it, because of, you would think I would accept my abilities by now, but I have not yet, right? So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit shy on it. However, I do love what he's designing, and it's going to be interesting to watch the space.
Nice. Yeah, I've kind of thought about these things, since I was a kid, but accepting and trusting are two different things, right? And I think Sam and I have had some conversations around trusting. That's really tough, especially if you have to deliver what you feel is tough information, or you could be wrong, right? because then you're second
And
guessing
how
yourself.
an interpretation of it, right? As we are
Oh,
learning, interpretation.
heck yeah.
And when you speak more than one language, when you experience more than one, move around, whatnot, when you just have different views, how they can interfere. And what I'm enjoying is that coming together with the mind like group and then going, how do you view this, and accepting, being open to different interpretation of things.
Yeah.
I am enjoying that. Will I be correct, Lost? Like you've
Yeah,
been
and
mentioning
well,
that as
and then
well.
there's another aspect of it too, that if you're doing these experiments and even in a small group, how do you know that you're getting information from the charts, for example, versus picking up information from the others around you?
Yeah. So this
Yep.
is a quandary around some of these things that a lot of us have talked about a lot of times, right? We know that just in quantum mechanics that being able to see something changes that thing, right? And I've often wondered if intuition, psychic ability was the same thing, that it had to adhere to the same laws. And I'm not sure about that. That's something I still pontificate about, think a lot about. I know in certain methods, that's why blind tasking is really important. You have someone not participating, but sets up a query or sets up a situation that is not inputting information. And then that question, that query, that setup might be days, weeks, months, or years. The setup might be before anybody looks at it. Now, pulling information seems to not really give a crap about time or space. But I think those are some of the ideas, is that because we can pull from people. Go ahead, AJ.
So there are, they've actually, in science fields, they've actually taken to the point where they will set up a test, walk away, go somewhere else, do something, do a movie, go fishing, whatever. And there is a random trigger which will actually trigger the test to happen, taking the scientist out of the equation, a la what you were describing.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Do you think these things, HA, just kind of off the cuff, do you think these things adhere to these kind of same natural laws? Because it's kind of all natural, isn't it?
Intent.
Intent. Okay.
Intent. Our intent is so strong that we don't realize it. I mean, Queen Maria has mentioned, has made several comments that we create, in her words, our own fuckery. We create. We are constantly creating.
We're co-creators in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have our own reality and we have this shared reality, and yes, we're co-creating the shared reality. But whether it's within our reality or the shared reality, we are intense creators. We are constantly creating every thought, every emotion, every feeling. When you go down the road and you start thinking about a flat tire, and you start thinking about a flat tire, eventually that's going to turn into a flat tire.
And how quick sometimes, manifests. My daughter is now becoming aware. So the funny part, right? So with my stand-up paddles, that evening that they were stolen, she was like, "Oh, interesting, no one took them." I'm like, "Stop, don't even put that into it." She's like, "Damn it, now I'm aware." I'm like, "Thank you." Like she got to witness that straight away. Like at the age now, she's aware more. Like before, she's like, "I want $50," and she finds it. I'm like, "Do it $1 million."
Well, and to that end, I would say maybe that's something where I would have a little bit of anxiety in the psychic world, is that battle of trying to think of trying to keep negative thoughts or negative outcomes out of my head, and always like trying to go to the positive.
See, it's okay. So two things there. It's not a battle. It's it's more nuanced than that. You're trying to balance out things. It's like every time a stray thought, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Every time a stray thought that I intentionally do not agree with, say I'll get this the thought of, oh, the engine's going to throw a rod. It's like, yeah. No, wait a minute. Okay, A, no judgment, but B, that's not an action I want to accept in my reality. And I've gotten to the point where I'll immediately say, look, okay, I'll take that thought, surround it in love, dissipate it, because it's not something that I want in my reality. It doesn't resonate with my beings.
And
So
as
it's not
well
a.
as,
Go ahead, Maria. Go
no,
ahead.
sorry, just to add to your point, human avatar, forget sometimes, like, let's say that thought pops in, right? Well, like, shit, I'm driving too fast, I'm gonna pull over. It's like, oh, cancel. You can do that. If you remember, you can stop it straight away and not be actually, another thing, we had that discussion last night. We are human beings. We're gonna have those thoughts. They're gonna drop in. It's like, how quick are you able to shift them and go, oh, here you are, like having fun with it. If you remember, right? It's like,
Well,
So
I mean, so we're receivers and communicators. So that thought of, oh, I'm driving too fast, it may not actually be even your thought. It's just that thought was present in that moment of that reality as you went past there. You know, somebody saw you. You know, thoughts are things. So that thing you encountered. So it doesn't even necessarily need to be your thought. It's just a thought that you encountered.
as well as that, and like with our emotions, like what you said, actually, Lost Shaker, we take someone else's emotion on. So what we can, another ability, again, I keep forgetting, not always remembering, is that who does this belong to? You can ask yourself, who does this belong to? I return to sender with love and consciousness. The power that we have if we remember to utilize this human brain and this human body to shift it. And I'm hearing myself what I said. I already pre-paved my own path, right? Is I'm this, I'm that. When it's like, you know what? Just give it a go. What could go wrong? If I'm incorrect, I'm not incorrect, because there is no such thing as right or wrong. It's our human labels, right?
so let's go back to this idea of the flat tire, because manifestation is not something I quite understand, and I never view it that way. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I do get these things around being here is very unique. Being alive here on this planet is very unique. Being in this realm is very unique. We get to create things, and that's always seemed like childish, but that's how it feels. It feels childish. Like it feels like it's really unique, where we can come and experience and actually make things. I get makersphere, and I've mentioned this to you, and it sounds so silly. I don't even know what that means, and I'm not sure the other places we exist in or can exist in. I don't think they're like this at all. But anyway, um, back to this idea of the flat tire. So how can you tell the difference that I'm manifesting a flat tire as opposed to I'm just getting intuition that says that you know, or you get a gut feeling that you're going to have a flat tire? How do you tell the difference?
Well, I'd
And
like to add an additional aspect there that we kind of touched on, but skirted around, is the location of a particular thought, that it just might be lingering there, having been created by somebody else. So say the thought that, oh, I'm going too fast. It brings up the question to me, what happened in that particular spot that caused somebody to say that? It was at the site of an accident before, and you've just got maybe a lingering echo of that. And so you're not hearing your own thought. So I think it's important that when we get these kinds of thoughts, that we kind of question it and say, okay, did that come from me because I'm observing what I'm creating around my environment right now? Or is this something that I've just noticed and it's kind of a replay in the environment? And it's definitely not me and nothing about what I was doing. And do I just, disregard it? Maybe consider and change what I'm doing a little bit. Maybe I'll brakes on a little bit, because could equally be a warning to you that, hey, the road might be a little wet at the curve up ahead. Someone previous might have said, I'm going too fast for that curve, I should slow down to be safe. And you just pick up on that so you can benefit from it, or, depending on what it is, maybe you'll not benefit. But I think that's an aspect of what's going on there. as well. And that if we could try to be cognizant of that, then it's going to help us out a lot. Because if it's our own idea and we don't want to manifest it, we do have that little opportunity there to make that change.
There's a member of our Discord who's been on here, who has had a thought and acted on it and avoided being in a big wreck. So I think there is like a timeline, if you like, that you could be on that you can change.
Well, I have an experience that directly related to that, actually, and I remember there was years ago, I was driving in a really bad thunderstorm to where it just flooded my windshield, couldn't see anything. And, I just had this urgent desire, impression that I needed to pull over to the side of the road. And it was so bad that I didn't really know, like, even which side of the road I was on already. And I ended up pulling over towards the left and just got completely out of the road. And seconds later, an 18-wheel semi passed me by.
So let's get back to that, because I'm still confused about the manifestation versus just being intuitive or having a psychic glimpse of something about to happen, right? How is it different?
I feel the emotion behind it is different. Like if you spend enough time knowing how you overthink the thoughts, I think the fear comes over when it's the thoughts. But when it's intuitive hit, I feel like it's calm. That's to me, like the difference. Like I started to ask now, it's like, okay, if it is an intuitive hit, let me differentiate, turn on my heart chakra. Like for me, I'm started to play with it myself. Anyone else, like that's what I can come to a conclusion, the difference of an emotion when it's a hit to your thought overthinking. Because they're two different mechanisms.
Emotion's a fuel. So if you have your intent that is clear and you know exactly what you want that you're going to, so you know how to start it, you know how you want it to finish, you have that fuzzy area in between, and whether you're afraid or you're happy or you're sad, like whatever the intenseness of the emotion is, at least for me, I can use that to fuel manifestation. And so it pops out on the other end with, however well I've set it up is however clear it manifests. So like this week, I wanted a 100% remote job, and it manifested really fast. So I was very clear about what I wanted, and I got exactly what I asked for. So
and it was more than just and please nobody take offense. I'm asking questions because I'm trying to understand, but it was more than just I want this to happen or praying that it happens. It was, you also took a bunch of actions and prepared yourself.
Yes, I had to do things to set up the opportunity.
And made a very clear path and made sure you were, you accomplished all those things on the path to your goal.
This whole area.
And sorry. Like we go back, like what it starts with intent. Like me, where I am now, I made an intention to explore myself, like get to know, trust my intuition, right? And then the examples come up, and if I'm aware, then I'll pick up on those things. So of course, it's not just something we're all woken up to, right? It's something like deep down, our soul keeps talking to us, and we're like, okay, I can't dismiss this anymore. So fast forward to now, I set an intent, and then I watched things come up, but it was feeling fantastic. Like, when I got the job, I'm like, you're a Canadian owner. Yep, I'm on the path. Like, I still don't know how the fuck shit happened, but it happened. I'm like, I'm saying yes, thank you. Another intent is I want it to go smooth. And I started telling a story of how I would like my life to be. If we talk about our power of our words, like, well, I'm going to use the words, everything, to create my life. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to fall flat on my face. Intuition or your abilities are there to help you have less regrets, in my view.
Practice makes perfect too.
I'm with you, Moo, in actually grappling with this dichotomy of the two things. We create our own reality. There is no objective reality. It's what we all co-create against. Yes, there is a reality and we can change it. So there must be a reality that we can change. Therefore, you know, it's like two opposing forces, really.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite the thought experiment at the very least.
Because we clearly influence our environment. We clearly, our thoughts create things, you know, but on the other hand, because people get a message and then do an action that then changes what happens, there clearly is a reality, you know, a sort of a something to change. So it's interesting. Yeah, I'm still grappling with it. Maybe it's a mixture of both. There's like an objective reality that we can all change, or maybe everyone's thoughts together create this reality that we don't, that we're part of, that then we can then change our bit of, or something. It's some, maybe it's just a whole collective of people manifesting that creates this what apparently is an objective reality.
If I may.
Of course.
So there are random number generators, which, as you know, are constantly running and constantly unmonitored, but their results are monitored. During 2001, during the attacks, whatever you might believe about those, the emotional output of people was enough to shift those random number generators so they were no longer random.
Wow.
Completely in line with what was happening. So that is my answer to us, our participation in the shared reality, us impacting it. I've maintained for years that every event has a probability to it, and that our input into that event sets its probability, changing from a potential event to a set event. You know, to the point where if we all believe X will happen. If you know, that's so again, our emotional, I say emotional, but our energetic participation changes the shared reality, changes our reality. The other input I have is, you're asking, how can you tell if some thought that you're having is yours versus something from outside of you?
Yeah, I mean, we
tend
could
to-
be that broad, but it's more, I mean, is it, once again, I don't understand manifestation. I understand some of these ideas around manifestation.
Mhm.
Those make somewhat sense to me. But the manifestation that we talked about, just like the flat tire, does that feel different than just
Yes, to me it does. To me, the
Same.
thought of a flat tire as a forewarning from, say, my guides, has a different taste to it. It comes to me in a different emotional state, or a different emotional energy. Whereas somebody that's like that, I'm running into the remnant, the echo of somebody going, "Oh my gosh, I have a flat tire." It has a very different taste. I use taste, but it could, you know, feel, structure,
Flavor, yeah.
operation.
Yeah,
So
Well, let
something that just kind of came to me in terms of that question is that I think, you know, if it's coming from source in advance, as opposed to us manifesting, they're going to try to find a way to get us that information. I can remember an instance where my uncle had told me that a light on the back of my car burned out so that it wasn't shining on my license plate. He's like, yeah, you know, you should look at that so that a cop doesn't pull you over, right? Now, I wish I had acted on that a little bit quicker than I did, because a cop did pull me over at, you know, 1:45 in the morning as I was heading to work at the bakery, and that led to me being late 45 minutes. and then really trying hard to scramble for the rest of the day to constantly catch up.
Interesting.
Well, just to then let you know, and you tell me. So last year, as I was leaving my daughter's bike on my porch, just at night, as going to bed at night, 11 o'clock, bring it in. Oh, okay. So I brought it in. But what I forgot to then clarify, was it just for that day? Because the next day I left it there and it got stolen. So, but thing is, it was clear. You know, you're gonna ask me, did I manifest the the robbery? I did. I'm responsible for not listening to the guidance and asking like to just continue bringing it in. That makes sense? But the feeling was clear, direct, bring your bike in.
Yeah, there's two different things that are not mutually exclusive. They're part of the same reality, and I'm wondering whether the creator has sort of, there's like a template reality that then we're all free to change, completely change.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. Like when I went snowshoeing, so I'm opening the door to my closet and I'm looking at the ski pants, right? And the emotions like bring them. My exercising free will. Now, what do you know? I've done this before. I wore my jeans and I was always good. And I fall into a dip, into a snow, and my jeans get wet and I have to go home. So did I manifest that? No, the guidance was there. I chose to ignore it and not trust it. And so from now on, if I have this thing, bring a jacket, it's there. Like it's constantly communicating. It's telling me what to do. Either it is through me or through someone else. I just have to listen to it. And from now on, I said, I'm listening. I'm not ignoring. So with your tire, it's interesting you say that as well, because that thought pops in because I now have summer tires and I feel like they're not as strong as winter tires. And where I'm going, it's like, be careful how you drive. And I fall off the little dip today and it just banged my car so hard. I'm like, shit, I was warned. But I'm exercising my free will not to listen again. I'm like, damn it, woman, listen.
I think there is like a time, because we're in time, of course. There's like a timeline we're on where you're doing a series of events can happen, and your guides on the other side are not in time. So what's going to happen, they can see because they're not in time. So maybe that's why they can warn you. You know.
And how do we know if they mean, like with the bicycle example where they said bring it in, was that just for, did they mean just for a one-time thing we need to bring it in to avoid something, or is this we need to do this as standard procedure and bring it in all the time?
Yes.
Like, how do you know?
So this is where then, what Lawshaker said, it's like understanding them better, your guidance. And I know it's like, okay, so do I need to then have a different chat to my guides and go, I need to be very direct. I need you to be very direct, right? I need you to tell me, like, because this is how I work. Like, they all guys, we make fun that usually a man needs to be told direct. I need to be told direct. Queen Maria, you need to bring your bike in all the time. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's where I need to exercise my free will, my humanness to go, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. This is what I'm choosing. And then we got to listen, right? We got to make sure we follow that through. Otherwise, then I'm like, well, guys, you ask, we give, but what the fudge? Am I on the... Yeah, sorry.
Let me set this up real quick because we're about to be out of the 30-minute window. I thought this would be a fun exercise for some of the things we're going to do today. So before the recording, I got delayed. I had an issue. We'll just call this Moo, his neighbor, in the case of the mysterious tractor key. Woo, we'll call it that. And had an issue where I had to really hurry up and go across town to take care of an issue. And so I'll use this setup as anybody out there listening. If you only get this 30-minute sampler, great. If you're a Psychic Nerds member, you're going to get this whole thing, and I'll give the reveal at the end. But what are your thoughts around that, you guys, as you're listening to this? I don't care if you're a member or not. And, send me a message, post somewhere, whatever. Post it on YouTube. You get any feelings around this, the situation I ran into and how it was resolved, or how I think it is resolved, or if the key was found, or if the key remains lost, things like this. Any impressions, anything like this. Now I've set it up to give you quite a bit of information, but if you get something or you don't, that doesn't mean anything. I'm just curious as to set it up as an experiment around this situation. So I'll do the reveal later. So yeah, That's how we'll do it. So we'll
Should
leave it
should
there.
should we actually employ a strong gun? Samantha, you want to take the floor? Should we employ the strong gun for this? Hey, Sam, you've got the floor.
She
Help
should
us.
be asked.
She's
Oh,
muted.
she's
You're
muted.
muted, buddy.
She's muted, man.